Welcome to today's workshop on Master's Applications in Environmental Science. Um, I will just introduce you to Project EduAccess and to your panelists, who will then take you over what master's applications in environmental science sort of look like, taking you over the course structures, modules, thesis, component, what assessment looks like, how do you choose the country where you want to pursue your master's, how do you pick the university, what are the various components of the master's applications, what are some career prospects. They'll give you some general tips on making a successful application, and then we move to the Q&A. We are Project EduAccess. We believe that access to higher education, leadership, and professional opportunities is a privilege that most people from marginalized communities are systematically denied through cost, information, and dispositional barriers. And we try to improve inclusivity in these spaces by removing some of these barriers for marginalized communities in the global south. We do this by adopting four broad key interventions, such as mentoring, counseling, role modeling, information advice and guidance, capacity building and leadership skill development, and evidence-based advocacy. Our session today and all of the workshops that we've done on university and scholarship applications is part of our um, initiative to make information on higher education abroad more accessible to people um, in South Asia. So to help us with our aim, we have two wonderful panelists so we have with us Tabina, who is currently pursuing an MSc in Water Science, Policy and Management at University of Oxford. And we have with us Anjali, who is pursuing an MSc in Environmental Policy and Regulation from London School of Economics. Between the two of them, our panelists can speak English, Urdu, Kashmiri, Hindi, and Marathi. So this is for the Q&A. If you want to ask your question in a language other than English, please feel free to do so. And I will now hand it over to Anjali. So thank you, Anjali and Tabina, for joining us, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Please tell me if it gets a little loud at any point. There's a event happening here. So um hi everyone. My name is Anjali, like I just introduced. I finished my master's in this year actually, so in September. So the thesis part is also already done. So maybe like if there's any questions about that, I can try to answer it. I did my course is environmental policy and regulation, which is a bit more on the social sciences side, but basically environmental studies or environmental science. It includes both the natural and social sciences. So it can lean towards more biology or engineering, or it can also be more related to sociology or law or policy. It's basically taking an like a view of environment or ecology related to whatever underlying subjects. So it can be like environmental history or environmental chemistry, engineering. Many of these topics kind of come under that. And usually it addresses broad topics like climate change or development or resource-based conflict, policy and economics, social justice and environmental justice, even renewable energy, basically all of these topics. Most master's courses cover these in some way or another through their courses and modules that they offer. Um, it's also a very growing popular course now because there's obviously like environmental challenges are becoming a very big part of everyday life also, but also because a lot of governments and organizations and corporates also are really looking for people who understand environment now, and they're trying to hire like experts and specialists who understand environmental sciences, environmental law. So both in like technological developments and social work, and also in corporate spaces, there's like a growing demand for people who study this. Um, and I already mentioned like there's a distinction between, I'm sorry, there's a distinction between environmental science and environmental studies. So if you are more focused on like the sciences side, like engineering or chemistry or biology or mathematics also, there are more science-based options for you there. And then if you are more social sciences oriented, there's also options on that side. Okay, so the program is like most of the master's programs, it's a 1 or 2 year program usually, depending on the university and the place that you take it in. I already mentioned some of the topics that you could have, but there is also a split between the core topics and then topics that you can choose. So core topics are the ones that you're mandated to take by the university or by that course, and then you have modules that you can choose based on your interest. Sometimes you can only choose from within the department. So you might have specialized topics on like renewable energy or water management or conservation politics. And sometimes you're also allowed to choose courses from outside your department. So you might be able to take something more, even more suited to your interest or something you want to combine with. Um, and then most degrees will also have a research component, and that's usually a very big part of it because as much as the modules will help you to like learn new concepts and especially like theories and concepts, and sometimes practical application depending on which university you're doing it from. The research part is also really important because you can combine everything that you've learned to basically research something that you are very interested in, and something that you really want to look into, maybe based on what you've learned in the course, but maybe also just based on something that has already been on your mind or something that you found new during your course, and you want to either do interviews or field work or anything like that. Um, just one point to note here is that the environmental studies, like maybe you got an understanding, is a very, very broad subject because it can cover many different aspects. In some universities, it also covers urban planning and or like city related courses. So it really depends on which university and which country and which kind of department is offering that course. And that's the kind of course that you'll get. So I think this will get covered later by Tabina, so I won't go too much into it. But you do have to be a bit mindful when researching that there are many different kinds of environmental studies or environmental science courses, and there's also everything available based on what you're interested in. Okay. So these are some examples of the core modules and the specialized modules. Um, so core modules, again, like I said, there is a very, very big variety, and this is some examples of the modules and where they're offered. So for example, there's climate change and adaptation, which is offered by the MSc Climate Change at University of East Anglia. And then you can compare it to something like environmental law and policy or research methods in environmental science or environmental governance. So these are all like your required modules for that course. Depending on the university, there's a different number of required modules. So you might need, in some places, you might have to take only 2 or 3. And in some universities, you have to take maybe 4 or 5 different modules. So you get to choose lesser, but there is usually a broad variety of the kinds of modules you can take. Um, Especially if you take a course like environment and development or environmental studies or environmental science, which is a more broad, you might have core modules and also elective modules, which cover very different parts of the subject. So you get a broader understanding. And if you take a course something like um, more specific, like water science management, or air management or anything like that, maybe biodiversity related, then your courses might be a bit more specific to that. Specialized electives, again, like I said, it's based on what you're interested in. So these are just some very few examples. There are like thousands of courses available based on what you're interested in. So here again, there are just some examples. Maybe you can read those examples, but everything from like renewable energy systems, which is a more engineering based course, to something like water justice rights, which is a very sociology based course. Again, when you're like researching universities, it's very helpful to check the department page and check what kinds of different modules, especially the elective modules, are available or are being offered by that department, because you have the flexibility of going and joining these courses, and that's really the courses that will make your degree and make you very interested in what you're studying. It might not always be the core courses. I think we can go next. Okay, so this is the thesis component. This the thesis component will be of so usually you'll have like subject related courses and classes, and then towards the end of the degree you'll have to write your own original thesis or dissertation. I think it varies from universities, but usually it's between 10,000 to 20,000 words, somewhere along that 10,000, 15,000 words. It sounds like a lot. Usually it's broken up over the year or over the 2 years, so you don't have to be too worried about that. Um, but it's a very interesting part because you get to think about your own original research and actually develop that. Usually the thesis is in the last part of your program. So if it's a 1 year program, it will be for the last semester. And if it's a 2 year program, it might be for the last half of the year of the second year. The thesis is you can usually have an option of choosing your own topic, and it's helpful if you draw it from something that you've learned in the course. So it could be something that's global that connects across topics like climate adaptation or international environmental law, or it could be very much more specific to the local area, something like urban geography, which is very city specific that you live in or that you're familiar with or you want to write about. Um, it's also very interdisciplinary. There is an option to make it interdisciplinary, which means basically you don't have to be limited to, for example, if you're writing something on engineering, you are allowed to, for example, write about how that particular technical point on environment that you're studying, how does that have more maybe social or legal applications or intersections, and you can write your thesis on something like that if that's what you're interested in. And for the thesis, you have usually a lot of support given by the university. You'll usually have someone who advises you, so that would be like a professor or sometimes a PhD student who will guide you and help you develop the various drafts of the um, of like your thesis and help you ideate and maybe find some readings that are uh, applicable. So it's a really fun process. There's also many practical applications. Like, I mean, on one side, you get to do some field work sometimes. If you have the chance, you can do some field work, which is quite interesting, very fun. For a lot of students, it's the first time, and there's also some methods courses that can help you do it. And on the other hand, you can also use your thesis to later when you apply for jobs or anything like that. It's also helpful as a writing sample or something that you have done originally, and it can also help you apply for PhD later if that's something you're interested in. So just yeah, that's about the thesis. You should just check the course to make sure it actually has a thesis or not, depending on if you want to do a thesis or not, and what the structure of the thesis and the course is. Okay, I went a little bit over the thesis, so I won't mention that again. Besides that, there is when you're doing the courses, there is usually coursework and examination. So coursework basically means like formatives, like things that you have to hand in throughout the time of the course or that particular topic that you're studying. You have different modules in any particular course. So if you're doing, like I did environmental policy and regulation, so I had different modules that I had to take. Some of the modules were for 1 semester and some were for 2 semesters. And then throughout that, I had various submissions. Like sometimes I had to write a policy report, which was not graded. It didn't count to my final grade, but it was a way for me to get feedback. And just generally, it was a good writing sample that I now have with me if I ever need to submit it somewhere. So that is one. And then examinations are the other, where it could be like a take-home essay. So they give you an essay and or a topic or something, and you get like a week or a week and a half, and you get to write it and research it. Or sometimes you have like an exam where you have to go for the exam room and just give your examination and come out. So it depends on the type of course and the professors. This is a little tough to always know from before, but usually that's the structure. In the UK, you'll only have one examination that counts for your entire grade. I think in the US or some other places, you have multiple examinations in the year, and together they count for your grade. There's also like presentations, which help you also learn from your classmates, which is very helpful. And it's like an informal way of getting feedback again. A lot of universities, again, depends whether you have fieldwork or not. Mine didn't have any fieldwork as part of the project or the course itself, but some universities have a lot of fieldwork, and that's also really good way of getting practical experience while you're doing the course. You can go next. You're gonna hand it over to Tabina, right? Here.
Hi everyone, thank you Anjali. You covered the topic quite comprehensively. So what I'll do for next couple of slides, I'll go through some of the slides regarding to nomenclature of the degrees, followed by some university courses offered in UK or Europe, and then to the application part, and finally coming to some of the tips that makes you help like your application outstanding. So in UK, the program may be titled as MSc or MA or MPhil, depends upon the institute. For example, in my course, it's a 1 year MSc program, and if we'll extend this 1 year course, it will be then MPhil. For example, extension of MSc will be MPhil in Oxford, but for Cambridge, 1 year course or for in SOAS, 1 year course is named as MPhil. Or for example, at the KCL in London, it's known as ME. So it depends on the institution whether the degree is offered within social science approach or some other fields. The program often is focused. For example, ETH Zurich is directly they name it as MSc in Environmental Sciences, having a diverse feedback of other technical expertise as well. And in US, many universities offer separate titles. For example, MS, Stanford names it as MS, or some other university may name same program as an MPhil or MA. Yeah, this is how the courses are named. It basically depends upon the university and the program. But overall, these all are master's programs. Can you go to the next slide, please, Misbah? So finally coming to the main topic, choosing course or choosing a country. For example, for US, strong research focus is on climate is in the Stanford or MIT, for example, or in UK, LSE, Oxford, and Imperial College London is these institutions are leading in these courses. Australia has Melbourne University, Canada has British Columbia, or for that matter, ETH Zurich is also one of the leading institute in the environmental field. So now I'll go through briefly through some of the courses offered by some of the UK and the European universities. But again, like please go to the website, check the list of courses and see what are their requirements. And for here, Imperial College London offers MSc in Transport, M Research in Living Planet, Ecosystem and Environmental Change, MSc in Environmental Technology, MSc in Sustainable Energy Futures. Can you go to the next slide, please? And for KCL, it is MSc Climate Change, Environment, Science and Policy, MSc Environmental Science for Sustainability, MSc Environment, Politics and Development, MA in Geopolitics, Resource and Territory. And in LSC, it is MSc in Environment and Development, MSc in Environmental Economics and Climate Change, MSc in Environmental Policies and Regulation, MSc in Local Economic Development, MSc in Regional and Urban Planning. So these all are diverse courses, but all are related with this science, environment, local, sustainability, transport, everything that comes under the domain. Or for that matter, in SOAS, it is MSc in Climate Change and Development, LLM Environmental Law and Sustainable Development. So these all courses are related to environment field and you all are eligible. For example, in my course we had the students from engineering background, some are journalists, some are from law background, some are from English literature. So the people are from diverse backgrounds, so anyone irrespective of their background can apply, being provided the condition that you are proving in your SOP or personal statement why you are taking this course or what you want to why you want to take any specific course. These are the requirements. So can we go to the next slide, please, Misbah? Or for example, university have leads has a lot of environment related course like MSc Environmental Science, MSc Air Quality Solution with Data Sciences, MSc Water Sanitation and Health Engineering, MSc Sustainability, Environment and Development, MSc Climate Future Science, Society and Politics, MSc Biodiversity and Conservation. And in Cambridge, it is MSc in Quantitative Climate and Environmental Science, MST in Sustainability Leadership, MPhil in Environmental Policy. So these, for example, MSc in Quantitative Climate and Environmental Science is offered by Department of Engineering. MSc in Environmental Policy is offered by Department of Policy. So all these courses for the environment are offered sometimes by even by a single department or through different departments. So you will have to go through all of these websites and check which course is offered by which department, who are the faculty, why I am choosing any program. So this is how you can choose your course. Can we go to the next slide? And then in University of Oxford, it is MSc Biodiversity Conservation and Nature Recovery, MSc in Environmental Change and Management, MSc Nature Society and Environmental Governance, MSc Sustainability Enterprise and Environment, MSc Water Science Policy and Management. These all courses are offered in the Oxford University School of Environment, offered by the School of Geography and Environment under Social Science Division. For example, in Cambridge, some of the courses are offered under Department of Engineering, but here all the courses are offered in the Department of Geography. For IHE Delft, Netherlands, it's one of the renowned institutions in water and sanitation. They offer a lot of water-related MSc courses. For example, MSc in renewable energies, MSc in sanitation, whatever it is. So most of the water-related course they offer only in the Netherlands. Like they offer this institution is exclusively for water-related, and ETA is Switzerland. It offers MSc in environmental science. So it covers all of the topics almost in their modules. Can you go to the next slide, please, Misbah? So now comes the main point. For example, we have seen a lot of courses offered by many top universities in the field. So how to choose a university? The first and the very important instruction in this is your specialization, because it is you who have to choose a course. For example, if you are interested in politics of environment or sociology of environment or biological aspects or history of the environment, what is going on, how things have happened, so you need to identify your specialized field and the field of your interest. What interests you, which program you are going to take, and who are the faculty members. Look at the faculty members' areas of expertise, what they are doing, what is their academic and the research journey, how that is going to help you. And finally, which is very important, and go for the ranking of the institution as well as the department, because for example, some universities may not be top ranked, but the Department of Environment or some particular department is top ranked because they have very good infrastructure, they have like faculty support, they have all the things which are necessary. So please go through the rankings of the department as well as the institution and see the facilities. Do they have the lab facilities? Am I going to like learn the things related to the qualitative and the quantitative research? Do they have the research resources to support you? And also check whether do they have the research clusters or the some alum bodies which help students to get placements, or for that matter during the course itself only. For example, if you are choosing MA in geopolitics, resource and territory at KCL, their focus is completely on international relations and natural resource disputes. So for example, for a person who comes from international relations and looks at the natural resource governance and disputes and sustainability, this program is quite well for that thing. And on the other hand, MSc in Environmental Sustainable Development at UCL focus on the feminist political ecology, environmental justice, and system things, because UCL, they believe that this program is just meant for promotion of environmental justice in the global south. So all the things change within the course and for a particular institution. What you need to do for it, like go make a list of things which you are seeing, choose a university, choose a course, and start applying. Next slide, please, Nilma. So, how to pick your specialization? The best way to pick your specialization is very important. That is to be true to your interests. For example, what are your research interests? What you are going to do in the future? So once you are done with it, once you have given time for yourself to think what you are going to do, put those ideas on paper, start writing what I am going to do, and see how this will help. Because once your theme comes out, what I am going to do, it helps you to navigate the process easily. For example, some institution may have 2 3 courses in the environmental field and you are very much confused what to do and what to choose. But once you have your themes, you know which course offers this program, which course will offer me to help in this direction, it will help you to take your specialization. And also consider the learning outcomes and practical skills. For example, my course is completely based on water management, governance, and science of water. So what I aim to learn from my course is everything related to water which I want. So, if I would have chosen, for example, environmental change and management, water was little part of that course, like one module is there related to water, but not the whole course. So it is completely depend upon what you want to learn out of your course, and do you want to work back in your country, or you are going to go abroad. Please give time to yourself, think on these lines, and see, does this specialization take me to any industry, will this take me to any NGO or government bodies where you will work later on. So your career and your interests, these are completely related things. See where I do come from and what I have to do in my future. That will help you pick your specialization. Next slide, please. Then finally, which is very important part, that is the components of application. How to apply and what things you need for your application. For very important, and the first and the foremost thing is academic records. Your academic grades and degree transcripts are backbone of your application process, because in most of the universities they have clearly mentioned which grades you want. For example, they have some upper class honors or something like that. Go through that, see do you have the section grades to apply in the program. See your program, see which courses you are interested in, or have you already gone good grades for these topics during your undergrad, or for that matter if you had done your postgrad. See which good, for example, someone has a good grade in ecology or policy or hydrology. Mention that I am interested in this field, and I was interested in my like previous degree as well, and I have already gone like good grades in this system. And go then comes a personal statement or statement of purpose. This is the document by which you are convincing the admission committee that why am I a good person to fit in this program, because you have explained your passion for environmental challenges, sustainability, or policy development. For example, there is a hot debate of climate change which is ongoing right now. What will it help you to get into the program? No, it will not, because every throughout the globe people are applying to these courses. Like these courses are becoming quite demanding now. How you can put your story, because everyone has a different way of looking at the things. Put your story, where from I come, what do I see, what guides my academic interest. Put it in your words, and this will really help. And highlight your motivation for certain specific courses which a particular course or a department offers. Show your previous academic or research experience. For example, I did my undergrad in biochemistry, or first master's in environmental science. So what I did, and I worked with some conservation organizations, or I worked in a research project. Mention it that I already had these skills. I had worked on these lines. I have volunteered, or I have worked in a consultancy or some other industry. Mention it in your personal statement. This is how you can make a strong case for yourself. Then finally comes to the CV. In your CVs, please don't forget to mention internships, field works. Field works are very important in environmental science. For that matter, in certain universities, they give weightage to these things as well. Research projects or experience, or if you have worked with any NGO, government body, industries, or any of the like sustainability related field. Mention your technical skills. Technical skills are very important and they are really appreciated, such as GIS, modeling, or AI. These things make you outstanding. Can we go to the next slide, please, Misbah? And then comes to the LOR, which is very, very important. Some universities may demand 2 or 3 LORs from your professors, who, and most of them they'll ask you for academic like people from your academia. For example, the professors who have taught you, graded and evaluated your papers, you have to get LORs from those people. So please make sure that you contact your teachers well in advance, because professors at the time get very busy, and at last hour you can't do then anything. So for this, what you can do, and make a list of the things, achievements, works, or top grades which you have achieved in your previous degree. Make a list of those things and send it to the professor. It helps them to navigate the process and to make a strong case for yourself. Because see, in a batch or in a cohort there are many people at a time, so it becomes difficult for the professors to like remember everything related to any particular student. So the best best way to do this is make a list of things which you have, a list of presentations, a list of workshops, conferences, modules, or some outstanding things which you might have done. Make a list, send it to them, tell them that you can put these things. These are my achievements during my 2 year or 3 year stay in this institution, so please you mention these things as well. This is one of the trick to how to secure a strong LOR, because LORs because it is the third person who speaks on your behalf up, so it play very important role. Then comes to the writing samples. For example, if you are in a research oriented course, for example MSc policy, they will require you some academic rights, for example a report on climate mitigation or water resource management. Or if you are applying to the for that matter to the Oxford, they will demand you for an essay, and it has a prescribed word limit, and the essay has to be well cited from credible sources, having well arguable system, having a proper proper introduction, main body, conclusion, right? It has to be like, it should convince to the admission committee that you are a good candidate for the course, and your writing skills are very good. This is something like which they are looking for. And for that matter, some US universities, they will ask you for a technical report. By technical report, I mean to say, if you have done anything like lab report, project report, field work, or any dissertation, your previous academic degree, you have to just make an abstract of that in 5 6 page and submit it to the admission committee that I have done this in my previous project or previous degree. This that makes them that convinces them that you are a fit candidate for their program. And then comes to the standardized test scores. For example, some US universities may require GRE score, but for UK, I don't think any university will require this. And English language test for non-native speakers, you have to submit IELTS or TOEFL score, which is very important. Ms. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, what are the prospects after you are doing any environment related course? For example, you can have roles in academia, or for that matter, in environmental consultants. You can join an NGO, or you can join some government agencies. Since there is like hot debate of climate change going on, climate scientists, there is a high demand for these people, sustainability managers or GIS specialists, if you are very well at these skills. For example, there are some people who work with the UNIP or UNDP, or some get the roles at the NASA or IPCC or World Bank. You can go as a project associate, or for that matter, you can join on any of the where from you come, what are your challenges in your area. You can become a local, a local sort of what I should say, representation to these government agencies or international bodies. Can we go to the next slide, please, Misbah? So finally, coming to the general tips, these tips I am giving you out of my own experience, which one of my friend gave me last year while I was on this actually EduAccess workshop. While I was preparing, how to put your words in strong way. Is it a charitable way of getting in? No. If you are convincing an admission committee through your words, which are just 500 or 1000 words, you will get in with a scholarship. For example, for courses related to environmental science, or for that matter any of the courses, what you have to do is just give time to yourself and think who you are. By this I mean to say, as a person, what who you are you someone who is committed to solving environmental challenges and promote sustainability? If you are, then do you have a professional experience? For example, you have a foundation backbone in environmental science and experience in research or projects focused on sustainability, or for that matter water management or any other nature related management. Do you want to do something in this field? This is who you are. You come, where from you come, what problems you have faced. For example, someone may have a problem of waste management in the locality, or someone may have for that matter water management, and other people may have the air quality problem. It depends how you will make a case for you, how you will put your words. And for that matter, what do you want to do in near future? Are you going to pursue your higher education, or you want to work in the policy related aspects, or you want to work on the modeling part, or any biodiversity conservation? What are your immediate goals after you finish the course? Or what is your lifetime like goal, what you want to achieve? Are you going to work with the international organizations like UNEP, UNDP to create a sustainable and equitable solution for environmental challenges? You have to mention what I am going to do in near future and what are my future goals. This really helps us and makes your case strong. Can we go to the next slide, please, Misbah? And then, why are you the best person to do this course? Why should university take you? Because there are a lot of applicants all over the globe throughout, like in these universities. Do you have skills? Do you have the academic qualification, research experience, or for that matter, do you have any work experience in the related field? Or while doing your academia or while researching something, what draw your attention to this thing? It's not necessary that you have to be an environmentalist or someone from the environmental science background. Even there are lawyers in our cohort, there are some journalists, there are some engineers, like people from the English literature. You just have to mention what are my academic background, what's my academic background, what are my research experience, and what skills I have so that I can fit in this program. Can you demonstrate your interest and experience? For example, if you have worked on water quality assessment, or for that matter climate change, or you have done any internship any of the organization, do you have a vision? Do you want to bridge the gap between the science and policy? Because we see science people, like a lot of science people are switching to the social sciences like I did, because I see like I want to work for the policy and the governance aspect. Or are you someone who is willing to ensure innovative solution? Or do you come from a vulnerable community? Do you have faced challenges at your own? This is how what guides you to do this program. So these are some of the tips and things which you have to see, and you have to put down these words and make a case for yourself. And which modules will help you? Have you gone through the websites? Please go through the websites. All the websites are very updated. All the courses are given, all the modules are given, electives are provided, which elective you can like pick. There is a like long list of everything. Please go through the websites of each course and see what is required for any of the course. And who are the faculty you want to work with? Who are, what are they working on? What are, which research they are doing that attracts you? Are there any research clusters that will absorb you or that will support you during your academic and the professional journey? So while keeping these things in mind, I'm sure you'll make a strong case for yourself. So this is all from my side on general tips. Happy to take any questions which you might have.
Thank you, Tabina. I was just wondering before we move to the Q&A, Anjali, do you want to come in and like, do you have any tips or we can just move to Q&A?
Yes. I think Tabina, you covered like a lot of the points already, so there's not too much for me to say. I'll just stress on the one point, which is when you're writing your SOP, your statement of purpose, basically. Um, just remember that it is. They don't want to. You don't need to write what they want to hear. Write what who you are, and be very honest about who you are and why you want to do that program. Sometimes it doesn't have to be like professional experience. Sometimes if you've not done the internships or like professional experience, that's okay. But maybe you have lived understanding. Maybe you have lived or seen things happening around you. Maybe you have been impacted by it, or you know people who have been, and even that is like a really strong reason to want to do something. And especially if you're changing, like if you did maybe something that feels unrelated, like let's say you did finance and now you want to do environmental studies, that is you can always justify it. You don't have to feel worried about that. So that's the only thing I wanted to add, but I think everything else that we already covered.
Perfect. So now we move to the Q&A. Thank you so much again, Tabina and Anjali, for being so comprehensive in your presentation. I see that there's already some questions in chat, so I'm going to start reading them out and you can respond to them. In the meantime, of course, if people have questions, you can just raise your hand and ask your question directly to the panelists, or you can send your questions in chat. So someone is asking. I have three queries. One, please guide regarding the write-up of 2,000 words required as part of the MSc in sustainability application in Oxford. The topic must be related to environment, or could there be any other write-up? Second is, can you share some Oxford funding opportunities, especially for environmental sciences, if available? And then third is there any way to get Oxford MSc application fee waiver? Um, so maybe Tabina, if you want to take that, and then if Anjali has any um
Yeah,
inputs.
so for the first question, guidance regarding the right sum, I'll say that you can write any essay related to any topic. The choice is open. You just have to convince the admission committee by your writing sample that you are very good at writing. That once you are in the Oxford, because Oxford demands you a lot of writing material, you have to submit a lot of essays, lot of like work. So it should not be a problem once you came here and you don't know how to write then, or you can't put like 4,000, 5,000 word essay. So the choice for this is very open. I have seen people who have given some critical topics, critics on some issues, or someone may have submitted as a someone has done any dissertation or any project, and someone had extracted an expert from that and submitted that in 2,000 words. So it is the choice is completely open. It depends on you, how, like what can you put in a better way to convince the admission committee that you are very good at writing. That's it. And you have to support your essay with a cited credible bibliography, and bibliography is not counted in the word limit. That is for, hope that answers your question. Share some Oxford funding opportunities specifically for environmental sciences if available. So unfortunately there are no departmental fundings in Oxford for any of the course in environmental science. But what I can say you that once you get an offer from the university, your departmental admission committee assesses and grades and ranks your application. If your application is graded and ranked in top, then the application will go to a lot of funding bodies. For example, Oxford India Center for Sustainable Development, Clarendon funding, or for that matter WHT, whatever the fundings there are. It completely depends upon what grade has your application been given, and it all depends on that only. Is there any way to get Oxford MSc application fee waiver? Unfortunately, I think Oxford does not give waiver. Is it, Ms. Right, that Oxford does not give any waiver to the MSc application fee? This is, yeah.
Yeah, just to add, unfortunately, Oxford was planning to pilot an application, removal of application fee, but so for this application cycle, they've not been able to do that, which means that you have to pay an application fee. You can write to your department, ask for a fee waiver, but the chances are a little low. But again, there's no harm in writing an email and asking. Um, And I don't know if Tabina mentioned the Oxford India Center for Sustainable Development, which is
Yeah,
the
yeah. For funding, I this is what I'm saying, that when your application is graded and ranked by your department, then it gets nominated for different scholarships. And in environmental science, all the five courses from the Oxford University Center for Environment are eligible for 2 or 3 OICSD scholarships. So it all depends on what ranking your application has been given in your department. So it is the department that nominates applications for the scholarships.
yes. Um, there's another question. I've received an acceptance for the course Future Food and Sustainability at Cranfield University, and I've applied for the Commonwealth Shared Master Scholarship, but I've not received any updates yet. Considering the high cost of studying in the UK, could you provide information on any other scholarship or funding opportunities available? Uh, yeah, Anjali, Tabina, anyone wants to take that?
You want to go ahead, Tabina? I can come after
Yeah,
you. Or
so
if you
for Commonwealth scholarship, I think the outcome you will receive outcome by April or May. Is that, Ms. Right? So you will receive the outcome by, but hopefully you will receive a positive outcome. But I'm not sure about the other funding scholarships because tuning, Commonwealth, or all the external scholarship deadlines have passed, and you might have applied for a couple of those. And it depends on the you can check with the university or with the department if they have some funding, because the living cost and the fees are very very high here. So it's worth checking with the department and checking with the university. You can write to them and ask them that I can't afford this without scholarship. Are there any chances that I can get any scholarship support? This is how you can do it, but you will have to wait for the Commonwealth outcome, which probably comes in the April or May. Yeah.
Also, to just add to that, with some universities, and this depends from university to university, it's not the case for everyone, but for some universities, they have internal financial aid. So you can also look for that and see if they're still open. It should be still open since you already have the offer. You can definitely like write to the department or just look on their website or their acceptance email if they have written anything about financial aid or financial support. So that is one thing. Other thing is also if you look on each university's website, you'll also find some more scholarship opportunities there. So you can look there for sure. Inside India also there are some scholarships that are offered from private companies. Um, so maybe I think EduAccess probably has like a list of that somewhere or like all of the scholarships. So maybe that's helpful for you. And just the last thing is that also, for example, in my case, um, I also was like there was a partial support from the university, and then I was also a job from the university. So that is also something you can look for. That a lot of universities will give you an opportunity to, for example, be I was like an assistant warden in the hostels. So I got the lodging and the food and travel covered. So if you can look for emails like that, that can also help you then with like a huge part of it, which is the living expenses. And this was at LSE, but also I know SOAS and Kings and they all offer this. So you can like look out for that email or write to the department of the admissions team to ask for these like jobs also that you can take, which will cover a big part of your expense or give you something for free completely.
Yeah, again, just to add to, I mean, there's in lakhs which is yet to be open. There's also these partial loan scholarships like the Besh Kamal Scholarship and Narottam Seksaria Foundation Scholarship, which again work as a JN Tata. So there are some opportunities still for you to apply, but these would be either full scholarships or loan scholarships. So, um, and even if university is offering you 50% funding, that's also very good because then you can apply for these smaller fundings that then add up to you getting full scholarship. So sometimes you may not get the whole lot from one source, but you may have to club a number of sources of funding and scholarships. Um, yeah. Another question is, are there any programs with scholarship with specialization in remote sensing and GIS or geoinformatics?
Anjali, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I on the top of my head, I can't like exactly remember any specific courses related to this, but I think if you look at some of the more technical universities, for example, some of the European universities or the American universities that have a more engineering or a technical focus in the university, or even a more science focus, you will find courses. It may not be completely about GIS, like the entire course might not be about GIS or remote sensing or like geoinformatics, but you'll find courses which have a lot of modules and like a big focus on it. So even in my course, I did have options to take a lot of the remote sensing and GIS related courses. So you definitely will find that. Just look for the more technical courses. I can't guarantee it will be scholarship though. I know you said like big scholarship, but the scholarship will always have to be something you look at separately because most courses don't come with a scholarship already.
Yeah. Okay, so I will just move to the hand that's raised. So BR, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Tabina, Anjali, and Misbah for this. And I just want to follow up on the first question that was asked to Tabina, particularly with regard to written work sample. Um, so I'm just uh, this might come across a silly question, but the academic essay, should it be more from academic way of writing essay, or is it supposed to be, say, an op-ed or general, like we read in newspapers, like some in that fashion, or what kind of uh, written work sample, especially the 2000 word sample? Yeah.
Uh, I think OPED should also work, but I am not sure whether it is allowed or not. But as far as academic writing, it should be an academic essay, like the way we write our research paper, we write our introduction part, literature review part, and the conclusion part. Most of the essays are in that format. For example, in my course, you can even write a like topic related to sustainability, or you can write a policy memo, or you can write any topic. Like the choice is open, but you have to decide, because Oxford has a like plagiarism policy, right? So all of the documents go through the plagiarism checking. What you have to do, you just have to cite from credible sources, put the bibliography, that's it. And the topic can be anything. I think I'm not sure about op-ed, like, but if you are like someone who is writing op-ed, the academic writing is like quite fair for him to write, because op-ed is something different than the academic writing, and it is easy to write an academic piece of writing in 2000 words than the op-ed. Yeah, but I think it should be okay, but I am not sure. I can't guarantee that op-ed is okay, but yeah, academic essay is something like that. As I said, it should be like part of how you introduce your research paper, or what's the literature review part, or how you are concluding with a problem statement. That is it. Hope that answers your question.
I
Right.
could just add to this that I did doing some mathematics because so in my case I'd also applied to Oxford, and one feedback that I got for my 2000 word essay was that it was an academic piece, but even when they said that it had a journalistic tone, and that they didn't like that it had a journalistic tone. So try to stay away from op-eds and things like that, and even your academic pieces, try to make them more academic rather than journalistic.
Thank you so much. Just one more question. Also, with regard to references, say different universities have different ways of doing it. So I just wanted to ask, for Oxford example, do we need to say, example, for some university, I was just going through the portal, there is some kind of ticket that is raised once you submit, and then the referee should fill up, put in the reference. Is that what is for Oxford? Does it has to be like a already preempted, pre-made on an official pad, something like that, or how does it work? Yeah.
So for reference, once you are your professor will write it on the letterhead of the department or the university from where they work. It doesn't matter even if they have taught you in some other institution and now they are working somewhere else. They will mention it that I know this person from this course while he was doing his course this at this university. I have graded him, evaluated him, or I have taught him. I have seen his response. So this is the way how they put it on the official letterhead, and then they receive a link via their mail where they have to upload the LOR. And like you don't have to do anything, you will just get notified that the LOR has been uploaded by this professor, that professor. That is how it worked for me.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, just in terms of how it works, I mean, I'm sure you would have figured this out if you've already started your application, but on the portal, you'll be required to submit the email IDs and they'll receive an email once you've submitted, once you confirm their email. So one thing is that the references need to be submitted the same time as the deadline, which means that you don't have to wait to send them an email and submit your application at the deadline. You need to confirm their email ID, send them that email to request a reference letter much before the deadline. So they have enough time to submit their reference from their end. And they'll have to upload a document, I think. And I think on the Oxford portal, they also have to answer a few questions. So just, again, give them enough time so they navigate the portal themselves as well.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
okay, there was another question. I completed my post-graduation in ecology, environment, and sustainable development from TIS. Currently, I'm working in a corporate and ESG domain. Could you please suggest if I should go for another master's? Would that be helpful since I already have a master's degree, or should I go for a PhD? Kindly guide me. So anyone or both of you, so I want to go first.
Uh, I can take this with you, Tabina, unless if you want to come in.
You want to take or I should take?
I can take it.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So I think it depends on a couple of things. One is um, since you're already working, so you have that professional experience already there for you, and you've already finished the master's. So I think a couple of questions you have to ask and think about. One is, why do you want to do another master's? So is there another topic that you're very interested in, which you really want to learn, which you will only get if you do a master's? Or is it that you want to switch the fields and you want to look at something completely different? Or is there that you want to go abroad and you want something very like one professor particularly or something like that. So maybe those are some reasons that you might consider doing the masters. But also because you have done masters already, you can also directly go for PhD. But I think for PhD, the requirements like obviously besides the requirements, it's also why do you want to do a PhD? Is it something that is there some research that you really want to develop, or is there something you're very interested in that you want to work on, or is there some professor that you really want to work with? So these are some reasons you can think about for PhD. I think since you already have masters, you shouldn't be considered before trying to do one more master's. Because since you have the professional experience, you can also get other jobs or other kind of opportunities without doing another master's. So that is just what my suggestion would be. But for example, since you're working in ESG and you want, let's say you want to go into journalism, then maybe something like environmental journalism or a journalism course might be helpful. So it just depends, I think, on your goals. Tabina, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, it is just like doing second masters is quite common here. It's not a big deal. You just have to mention why you are doing second master, what motivates you. If you already had one master's, why are you going for second master? Or for that matter, if you are going for PhD, what draws you to this research question? You just have to make a research proposal for that. If you want to go for PhD, submit your research proposal. Some departments will require you, and some universities might require you to contact the potential supervisor before, and some don't. It is just, it depends on your like choice what you want to do, but both the choices are open and pretty good. For me, I am doing second masters, and many people here are doing second masters. And yeah, it completely depends on your interests, yeah, but both the ways are fine.
Perfect. I think that is Uh, one more question, and I realize that we are at the 1 hour mark. So again, this is the last question that I will be reading out. If anyone has any other question, please do put it in chat now or raise your hand. Otherwise, this is the last question. Uh, the question is, I completed a master's in geoscience and another PG diploma in remote sensing and GIS. I'm applying for different PhD programs. I attended many PhD interviews, but all of them were rejected. Any suggestions to improve the PhD acceptance and any suggestions to improve the CV?
I think for GIS and remote sensing people, yeah, some departments may require you to have GIS as a specialization, but they require you to have some other extra like strong fields where you will apply this GIS skill. I think that should be the case, if I am not wrong, because the GIS, like for example, in my course, GIS is compulsory to, not compulsory, but it's an open choice to learn. Like they teach us how to use softwares like QGIS, ArcGIS. So they might be looking for you to have some like for some area which where you will apply this skill. I think that might be the problem, I guess, but I'm not sure because I don't have any like uh, experience of our such things. But I hope that that can be one of the reason.
Also, I also don't have the PhD experience, but a couple of my friends were applying to PhD, and I think one thing that is very important for PhD is, do you have research articles or maybe some publications or some research assistant work or something like that? Because the PhD is very research focused. So they really like taking candidates who have especially been published, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you have already published. But if not, then I think sometimes people take like a few years before moving from masters to PhD so that they can build all of this and like build a really strong portfolio. I guess Miss Val will be better to answer this.
Yeah, I can just add a few things, which is that if you are reaching the interview stage, it does mean that your CV and your application is good. So I don't think there's much to improve in your CV if you have if you've crossed the preliminary stage. And if it's after interviews that you're not going ahead to the final stage, then I think it is about just how well you're able to communicate your ideas, your proposal, and what you want to do. From my understanding, is that PhD interviews tend to focus on your understanding of the subject and your knowledge of the subject, specifically, the field that you want to study in. Second, whether you have a good idea of the research question that you want to address. And thirdly, whether you have a sense of, the project itself and its entirety, which means, in terms of the timeline, in terms of resources, in terms of field work, all of those things, you have a sense of how much time it's going to take, how many resources you'll require, what you want to do within the next, say, depending on whichever country you are applying to, how many years it's going to take. And if you so it's about communicating all of those things confidently to the panelists so that they know that, one, you have an extensive understanding of the subject, and that you understand your project itself. So again, it seems like it's not much about your application, but just communicating all of those things. And if you, I can't tell what your name is, but if you're not a mentee with us, if you are a mentee with us, then reach out to the operations team and ask them to help you with with your interviews. But if you're not a mentee with us, then you can email us at info@projecteduaccess.com the next time you have an interview, and then we can see how we can help you. Maybe we can schedule a chat with a mentor, or see what we can do. But reach out to us before an interview and we can see what we can do. I think with that, we end the session. We are 5 minutes, 6 minutes past the scheduled time. So thank you so much, Anjali and Tabina. It's been a really wonderful session and very interactive. So thank you so much for being so comprehensive, both with the presentation and with your answers. Thank you everyone who joined us. All the best with your applications, and I hope you have a nice rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, EduAccess, for holding such wonderful workshops. These really helped me, and I am sure a lot of people are getting benefited from these as well. So, all the best with your applications. Good luck. Bye.
Okay, good luck. Thank you so much, Misbah, for organizing.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.